question becomes, do we have what it takes to persist? You know, we all have to search within. We all have to look and say, do we have what it takes to really get over the hump, to overcome obstacles, to overcome the hurdles that we all know, if you've been around for a while, you know you're going to encounter, and not be turned away because of it. And a lot of people will consider persistence to be the main ingredient. But one thing I've learned is that there's another virtue that goes along with that, because sometimes persistence isn't enough. And we all know that. And it's called patience. That's the virtue. We've heard it, virtue is patient. Patience is a virtue. And what we do, we have a tendency to be impatient. And we think something's good going to come out of by rushing, by going on and thinking that the harder we push, the quicker we push, because we're here right now, that's the right way to go. And that's not always the case. Patience gives us the opportunity to redirect. It's that moment of pause that allows us to figure out what is it that we need to work on. What is it that we need to fix? What is it that we need to reassess, reevaluate? We see here in Michigan right now those that have been in careers for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled from up under them. You're trying to figure out what's that next step, what's the next thing to do. You get some that all of a sudden, because bills are due and there's things that got to be done, they jump into something else because they unfortunately don't have the opportunity to have patience to figure out what that next step is going to be. Impatience is the killer there. That's the one that will smother and cause you to do things in an impulsive way that will lead to opportunities being missed. And the last one we talked about was passion. Now, passion is the one that I love. I mean, I think about the one that really gets me going. That's my engine. That's the engine that drives a lot of things that we do. The reason why you're here today, the reason why when you leave here, you go out and you do whatever it is that you do it because it's patient. It's because of your passion. The passion, for me, I think back when I started playing football, I had no endeavor to really be a professional athlete. I wasn't the greatest student, but ultimately, I had a passion for sports. I had a passion for going out and doing something different with my life. I had a passion for change. Football just became one of those deals that I was blessed. I was able to make the right decisions. I was able to go to college and graduate. And ultimately, Detroit Lions came knocking on my door with Wayne Fonts. Well, he didn't knock on my door. Wayne, with a cigar, we wouldn't let him in. But yeah, you know, he came by, and the thing is, when that opportunity was there, I jumped on it. And the Detroit Lions made me an offer I couldn't resist. And I came to Michigan at the ripe old age of 22. And the thing I didn't realize is that I would have this turbulent time when I came here. I was All-American in sports, football, track, and it was smooth sailing because when I first came to college, it was turbulent. I had to get through all the hiccups. I had to learn college. I had to learn how to be a good student. I had to discipline myself to go to class without my parents getting me up. And then ultimately, when things started to get a little bit easier, the persistence, the patience, the passion, all that stuff started to pay off. I got to a place of comfort, which we all do in life. And then the Detroit Lions came calling, and ultimately I came here, and it started that cycle all over again. Came in a 10th pick overall in the first round, high expectations, and I was a flop. First year, I'm going to admit it was a disaster. And I questioned a lot of what I was doing, but what I did is I said I'm going to continue to persist. I'm going to continue to push forward. I talked to my mother. I said, listen, there's this thing that's going on. I have to really kind of continue to push through it. And we find that a lot of times in our lives. We find that with kids. We find that as parents. We find that with friendships and relationships. You know, you want to give up on things so easily whenever there's a hiccup in the road. And what I've learned, both in my life but also in business, that if you continue to push through it, those things will happen. You will achieve. And after really getting that together, I started to realize that business was a passion of mine here in Michigan. And I started to get into software design, which is what I'm doing now. And I wanted to take sports, combine that with technology, and figure out how can I make a difference. Almost reinventing myself once I left football. Once I left, I came up with a technology that said, how can I take a process and where one kid's paying $500 for a highlight tape for those of you who have kids, and make that accessible to all the kids on that team for the exact same cost. Because I want to make a difference. I want to keep costs low. And I was able to do that. I got with some Oakland University students, and they started teaching me software design. So lo and behold, without really going to college, I ended up becoming a guy that builds databases and back-end design and code and writes all this code. And I was able to come up with a product and a service that makes a difference, that can create scholarships for kids, that can get them exposure for a nominal cost. Passion. That was my passion. That was what was driving me to do what I do. And I continue to try and do that. I continue to push forward with that in hopes that those that are looking at me, the kids that are looking at me, they can see that, you know what, change can occur at any time. Are you ready? Can you make the adjustment? Can you go out and make the difference? And I never thought I would be learning from a 21-year-old and a 23-year-old teaching me design and code, helping me redefine, readjust, and ultimately recreate myself.